Okay, hello beautiful people. Good day. Today, I want to share the 4 levels of human maturity. I learned this from a class I was in when I was in Montana State University, Bozeman, from Lori Lawson. The class was Cultural Dimensions of International Business, and it pretty much just taught us how to speak, communicate with people, both in verbal and nonverbal ways, and how to relate and make magic happen, and actually make business happen instead of fucking stuff up. You can fuck stuff up in a good way, but you know what I mean. I was, side note, right off the bat, I was triggered when I heard friends saying, fuck it up, fuck stuff up, because I'm like, I don't want to fuck stuff up. And I look up the definition of fuck, and it says, there's different definitions, but you probably know what it is right off the bat. One of them was striking, like striking a tent, constructing a tent, or striking up a conversation. So you can initiate certain things like that in a positive way, and I love that. Okay, so on to the 4 levels of human maturity. I won't have you guess, I'll just say it. The first level, and this kind of corresponds with the energetic laws of either Abraham Hicks has it listed as the emotional scale, or Dr. David Hawkins in the book Power versus Force has it listed as well. See people I know, God love them. The most disempowered state, which is like the lowest energy level, and that's kind of the lowest energy level because of you're afraid to do anything, speak up. You're just kind of like frozen in flight, fight, freeze, or fawn, but just frozen. Anyway, the most immature level of humanity is believing others are better than you. So whether it's your race, gender, nationality, whatever it is, you believe others are better or superior than you. That's like the least mature level, the most disempowered. The next, so the second of the 4 levels, is you believe that your being, gender, nationality, race, whatever it may be, you believe that you're superior to others. The third maturity level is you're all the same. We are all the same. That's what I got when I took the verbal test or quiz in class. I thought, we're all the same, man. And the fourth, the highest maturity level that one can reach, is understanding that we're all different, and not like a fucking racist being like we're all different, and that's, I guess that kind of fits into the superiority complex. We're all different, but some are better than others, and these people or whatever, we're all different, and we all have a unique gift to share. We all have a divine, unique gift encoded in our DNA that we come here with, and if we're doing harm to others, we need some inner work to do. We need to do some reflection and inner healing. However, we all have a positive gift that we can share with others, whether it's making music or sharing amazing ideas we get from either ourselves or the divine or wherever else we get them, making good pastries, simply being a good friend, all that good stuff. So I'm gonna share a couple different things. I share this now just because it's prevalent, and there's a lot of people walking around thinking they're better than others, and sometimes that can be built into societal structures which causes imbalances and stuff breaks down over time. It's not sustainable. So we might as well build it well. I think everybody may have experienced this unless you're walking from birth as an ascended master or someone very enlightened. Like, I was an asshole in high school. I was kind a lot of the time, and also there were times where I was just a dick. Excuse my language. Anyway, just driving around town, being like, oh, I'm so cool, I'm 17 3/4, and just being like, having my nose up at things, acting like, oh, I'm so cool, I know everything, or I know stuff, and it's really funny. I see, people doing it now, whether they're 17 3/4 or 87, and I just laugh. And it's important to remember, like, I've evolved a lot in my lifetime, in this lifetime, and it's just important to remember that we all have our own path, and we're all evolving at our own pace. He's the most evolved that I've met so far. He's pretty evolved. Anyway, and that's not true. He's pretty evolved, but I've had the blessing of coming into contact with very ascended beings, the divine, as well, which has been amazing. I've laughed at that. I couldn't stop laughing one time where I ascended and came into contact with a spirit guide that was such a high vibration. I just kept laughing when I was done with it. A friend and I, after we were working with Christina Lopes, and one of the teachers was joking with me like, oh, you're not used to that. You need to get used to that stuff, because neither of us could stop laughing, because it was just so funny. So much love, so much light and humor, which is quite a contrast from what a lot of humans experience in their whole life or on a day-to-day level. I love filming him, if you cannot tell. Merlin the Great. I'm gonna share a vision I had, and then I'm gonna share a story from the show Rick and Morty. I'm gonna share the Rick and Morty story first. There's an episode where they go to a planet and there's a race war. There are people with square nipples and there are people with circular nipples, and they just hate each other because they have different nipples than each other. And I think that's funny because they just kind of, reduced the similarity down, like certain white supremacists could dislike people of other, to say the least, dislike other people of color or religion or whatever the heck, when oddly enough that's completely contrary to all the messages that Jesus truly taught, not the people that came after him that attempted to control and manipulate and skew the teachings. But Rick and Morty go to this planet, and as far as I can remember, they try to help these people, and they're like, oh yeah, this person came up with all these amazing things that's helped out all the shaped nipple people, and they just, despite, I don't know if it's their best efforts or whatever, but they just keep coming back to, oh, it's a square nipple person, or it's a round nipple person, kill. And eventually they pull out. They're like, this planet's fucked. These people are just at a certain level of consciousness. We're gonna leave them. There's nothing more we can do until, they evolve themselves. And that's just funny. But anyway, with healing work as well, when we do healing work, we don't, a lot of healers, unless you're kind of a dingus, I guess, being like, I'm the one healing people, la la la. We say you're the one that does the work. Anything that we do to help heal, there are certain things that we can do consensually or non-consensually, but only do consensual stuff and ask people before you just go ahead and blurt something you intuit out, or to give, to share well-being. Ask for consent. But, we say, you do the healing. You are the one that allows it. You are the one that will sustain it. Because, we can revert back to old patterns and stuff. But you are the one who chooses to allow, to do the work and to evolve. If you're happy hating square nipple people, then you're going to do that until you stop, or I guess are made to stop. And truly, I don't know if, we can be made to do anything. We can. I'm thinking of Viktor Frankl's book, to truly change our mind, that's up to us, or having an experience that does help shift our perspective. The second story is I was filming a documentary in Arizona about and on the border of the United States and Mexico, about Mexican gray wolves, and I had no idea these guys even existed. I've heard of gray wolves, but not Mexican gray wolves. Look at that sunshine. And we filmed one scene talking about indigenous people who had family before there even was a border. That's just a construct. And I know some indigenous people call it the medicine lines. And we were talking about how, the border has split families apart, and especially regarding wildlife. If there's a wall, it cuts animals' habitats in half or down, or, it limits range of motion. And, from both sides, I think you can hear just by telling me speak, what I stand for. But just for all perspectives, just to share this, I was at the wall, and I thought it was funny because a few years ago there was a space, you could fit an ATV through this slot of the wall. There was like a 5 or 6 foot space, and there was just a dangling thing of barbed wire in between. You could just take it off and walk right through. But on the United States side, there was a dirt road just going all along the wall, and it was really barren. It was dry, and I didn't see, maybe some lizards, but I didn't see any wildlife. And it was hot, and I didn't see any water. And it was just like brush for who knows how many miles. I look over on the Mexican side, and I see people on horseback. There's cows in the fields. There's horses. There's fruit trees. There's ponds of water. There's hummingbirds flying around, and it smelled good. The wind blew towards me, and I smelt it, and it just smelled alive and rich. That really shocked me. And I had a vision. It was weird. One of the few times in my life this had happened. It was just kind of like a clear curtain kind of came over my field of vision, and I still saw everything, but I also saw day turned to night. It was nighttime. There were bonfires dotted around this landscape. It was a mountainous landscape where I was at, and I saw people of all races and all colors together. The fly was just like, yeah. So I like confirmation from the natural world, whether it's a winged creature coming to highlight a message, or a raven cawing, or some other kind of indicator or sound. And this message of what I saw was people around a campfire, eating together, cooking together, sharing stories, laughing, playing music, and there were just many, like dozens and dozens of campfires throughout the landscape, all of the people doing similar things, just enjoying one another and themselves. And the feeling and what I heard was, instead of like all the police state and good and evil, and it's like, if you're a policeman, you're looking at stuff that can go wrong. You're literally like on guard. That is your job, to be hyper vigilant, even in a sense, and just checking stuff out, profiling people. That's just the nature of at least that particular position in consciousness. And I know what I've heard is there's people that are working with police and kind of having a more humanistic approach, like instead of just using a hammer for everything, a hammer for a nail, a hammer to make a smoothie in a blender, doesn't really work that well, just to be able to speak with people and connect in a different way to come up with solutions that work better for everybody. Who likes to do paperwork anyway? I don't like to do that paperwork. Anyway, the message that I got was, these people in these communities are able to, and wouldn't it be nice if like they and we just took care of people that are causing harm, like trigger warning, but I think you know what I mean, doing some of the stuff that really harms people, families, individuals. Wouldn't it be nice if the community knew who these people are and can be helped and assisted by law enforcement and officers, but mainly taking care of that stuff themselves and in the community. And I know that there's a balance with everything, and here I am talking. I'm in Wyoming. That's a pretty damn wild place to live, close to the Wild West as we have, and raised in Montana. Still though, just speaking about the balance, and how as humans and as people, we can empower one another by trusting in one another's power, rather than being submissive or deferring to another authority. I like how in the book Power versus Force, it talks about how true power is love. True power is not force. You can force anybody to do something. That's not true power. That's a force or a certain authority, and that eventually breaks down. It's like, it's not it's not lasting. I'm being reminded of Star Wars and how the Sith, or the evil people, are thinking about power, domination, control. They've got the whole thing backwards about how they need to, and it's just a manipulation tactic, but if they truly believe, they need to subdue the entire fucking universe in order to have peace, and then they can rule it all to their liking, rather than each one of us is capable of peace right here and now, and also experiencing that on a greater level. In our community, in our home, in our community, in our city, our state, our country, is the world, and all the worlds, the universes. Anyway, yeah, I feel complete. Thanks a lot for listening. Thanks for sharing the love, and hit the buttons, hit the good buttons if you want, or whatever buttons you want. and wishing you a wonderful rest of your day, life, sending lots of light and love. Appreciate you. Whoever this is, I wish you a little bit of strength and peace and joy and positive purpose and love on your journey. Okay, bye.